Anthony Brindisi, Assemblyman Anthony Brindisi. There's a... Did I
forgot a birthday, yeah. That's my fault, yeah.
Rocco Gaetano is 8 years old today.
Yes.
Well, we should give him a cake, too.
Yep.
Rocco Gaetano, 8 years old today. Andrew's so sorry, but we're going to give you a cake. A cake from the Florentine Pastry Shop. Rocco Gaetano. Anthony, would you help us? And could the Assemblyman say happy birthday to Rocco Gaetano?
Happy birthday to Rocco Gaetano.
8 years old today.
Happy birthday, Rocco.
Awesome.
Would you pay for the cake?
Absolutely.
Because we kind of didn't have an extra one to give away.
You know, what's going on over there? They're cutting the budget back at IBX.
It's terrible.
What's going on?
It is terrible. Yeah. All right, Anthony, first I want to start with Jim Zecca saying that you, which is ridiculous, but I do want to get into it. When it was said that you were trying to hide these emails, this conversation, that was ultimately foiled by not using your government email address. You said, newsflash, had I used my government email address, they wouldn't have been foiled because Assembly and Senate emails are not foilable. You remember that?
I do remember that.
He's saying that you said it with pride. Can you talk about that?
Well, I'm glad that Jim's able to read into everything that I'm doing. Jim, who wants endorsements from me every 2 years when he runs for another office, and I won't give it to him. So he certainly has a personal axe to grind against me for a number of reasons. But look, I think I've said all I've had to say about the emails, and it is what it is. They can take out of 700 pages of emails 2 or 3 lines and try and use them against me because Jim is one of Claudia Tenney's biggest supporters. Look, I certainly said some things out of frustration. I understand that, and I think we've all have sent messages or texts out of frustration. Doesn't necessarily reflect what we really feel or mean, and the bottom line is that the hospital plan is moving forward, and we should be very proud that we have this kind of money in our area to build a new state-of-the-art facility because it's something that this area really needs, a new hospital.
Can I I'm sorry, Jeff's got one after me, but I just want to, can we get on the issue of why the Assembly and Senate is immune from having their emails foiled? And part 2 of that would be, do you see any time in the future where that might be changed?
I think there could be. I mean, this is a law that was set up over, I think, 40 years ago, but having times change, the things that are foiled in New York State are anything dealing with agency decisions, things that have an immediate impact on the ground. Legislative emails, we're talking to constituents every constituent who calls our office or every case that we open up, we have the constituents signed consent forms and privacy forms, and there's a lot of communication that takes place back and forth between constituents over very personal issues that I don't think they would want revealed to the public. So there is legitimate reasons for non-disclosure of emails through the legislature, but certainly there are exceptions to the rule as well.
And talking to Robert Freeman, he said there are exceptions, and in some cases, legislator emails could be foiled in some cases. But anyway, I just wanted your take on that, Manaski.
So I did want to jump into the emails and something you already addressed. You said, sometimes you say something in frustration or you email something in frustration. 710 pages of emails, and they're kind of focusing on a few things. Let me ask you, can you explain, is there a backstory there? Did Oneida County or local officials have to make a pitch to get other counties to buy in as it relates to funding? Why was Herkimer County and what Herkimer County does being talked about in regards to the hospital project? Can you give us background? Where was your frustration?
I heard Jeff, but his mic might be turned off, so I kind of heard it muffled. I still got the question.
Did you get it?
Yep. You got it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
So at the time of around the hospital funding, if you remember a few years back, in addition to what was occurring around that same time was this upstate revitalization initiative. If you remember, the governor had a plan where 3 regions across upstate New York would be awarded $500 million for economic development purposes within those counties. And at that time, Mohawk Valley was working, the counties within our region were working together to come up with a plan. There were other things that we had put in the plan related to the hospital that we wanted to have all the counties be able to sign off on, trying to find good projects from every county. And there was some frustration over really trying to bring 6 counties together who really have no experience working together. I mean, we work with Herkimer all the time. We work with our neighbors to the west, but the Mohawk Valley region is really a region that was put together by this governor and through his regional councils. And traditionally, a lot of the counties more affiliated with their counterparts to the east in the capital region.
Yeah.
So it was certainly a frustrating process bringing everyone together. I think ultimately the county executive deserves a lot of credit because he really spearheaded that effort and sat and had a lot of tough conversations with county heads of other counties to try and put a plan together. And it's not an easy process. And people get frustrated. You say things out of frustration. It's not necessarily represent your true beliefs. I guarantee every listener and everyone in the room right now has sent a text message or an email out of frustration and probably didn't mean exactly what they said in that email, but it happens, and you got to own up to it. And certainly, if I said something to offend the Herkimer IDA, I apologize. I've talked to John Scarano, who I consider a friend and someone who I respect dearly, yesterday, as well as Jim Bono, about my frustration over a project that was which didn't happen, but was being contemplated in Herkimer County at the time. And look, I think the proof is always in the pudding. When time came for me to be able to help deliver for Herkimer County with tractor supply, I helped secure a grant from the Assembly for energy upgrades to the Pumpkin Patch park over on 5S there to help get tractor supply into that park, which is a great project and a great win for Herkimer County.
I want to bring in John Scarano, who's on the line right now. John with the IDA, also Chamber of Commerce, and was on yesterday. John, very fired up yesterday. John, you're on with all of us and, of course, with Anthony Brindisi. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, what a difference a day makes. I'm not real fired up today. I spent all my energy yesterday. But Assemblyman is correct. He gave me a call, and we talked very civilly, and I think we both have respect for each other. And I think that the Assemblyman wanted me to call in today because he wanted to make it known, his feelings. And so, I'll make mine known a little bit, too. Frustration. I certainly can understand frustration. And certainly can understand things context. But what I'm talking about here is that after the fact, maybe sometimes you might want to go back and say, the IDA in Herkimer has done a pretty good job. And I know the Assemblyman knows that. But albeit my name was not mentioned, but I am on the board and I am an officer, and I do represent Herkimer County small business. And, certain lines, and we won't go through them, but certain lines in there were, a little off color. And so I thought that if there's a lot of people out there in Herkimer County reading these, they may take them the wrong way, maybe like I did. And so, I'm glad that you gave me a few more minutes to call in, but I really wish that politicians, anybody involved would just, do the right thing and do peaceful things without, saying some things either out of context, and I'm not even sure what that means, Assemblyman, but frustration, if you listened to me yesterday, I can certainly understand why you may be frustrated about certain things. But the IDA in Herkimer County, I'm proud of it. We've done a good job, as you well know. We've done some very, very good things. The pumpkin patch is almost filled. And, sometimes when you work hard like that, instead of having people read a comment out of frustration or out of context, you wish you would have them read something like, hey, Herkimer County is doing well. Herkimer County IDA is doing well. Rather than reading a comment like, in usual fashion, Herkimer County is screwing up. When you say usual, the connotation there is that you think that's always the case. Now, please, again, out of context or out of frustration, I just wanted to say that we don't usually screw up. And if you feel that way, then that's not correct. So, but I know you don't. I appreciate what you said about me, but it's really not about me. It's about Herkimer County.
Okay. Let's, Anthony, you want to respond to that?
Yeah, no, and I like I said to John yesterday on the phone, I do apologize to him and the IDA for those statements. And I do know the IDA works hard. I know John works hard. And these are volunteers who take time out of their lives to really try and put the county's best interests forward. And they have had many successes. And I think the latest with Tractor Supply is just a testament to that, which was a lot of hard work by a lot of good people. to land that project after many years of trying, and it's going to be a good thing not just for Herkimer County but for the entire region. And we're very proud of that project and the work that Herkimer did to do that, among many other good things over the years. I do apologize to John, and I hope he considers me a friend still. And
absolutely,
we're always going to be working together for the betterment of the area, no matter what.
John, I do want to ask. Yesterday, Assemblyman Brindisi or Assemblyman Butler was on after you, and I don't know if you heard about any of his comments, but while he said this does not do these comments, these emails that came out do not do well for the relationship between Herkimer and Oneida County, and maybe set it back a bit, but can be mended. But beyond that, he said some of what was being said in those emails he agrees with, and basically said, I've been talking to officials in Herkimer County for years that they need an economic development director, someone that's going to work in conjunction with the legislature, in conjunction with the IDA, that is going to be, if you will, the salesperson and the organizer and the manager of economic development. Why does Herkimer County not have an economic development director? And based on all of this, is there something? And this is the words of Assemblyman Butler. I think while they should be upset, they should also look at these comments and learn from them. How do you respond to that, John?
Well, I didn't hear that part of it, but I can respond this way too. I'm not on the legislature. Maybe you can ask your dad that one.
I did yesterday, by the way.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm always for salesmen. But you know what? I would assume that Mr. Butler, and he's just like Assemblyman Brindisi, he's a friend of mine, but he's been representing Herkimer County for a number of years. So rah-rah salesman, maybe that could come from part of the assembly group too. But, the Chamber of Commerce really trumps up the county. We have a guidebook that goes out all over the place. Come visit, come see, come stay with us. But, the IDA, let me say this. You're going to hear an announcement, hopefully, very shortly. The pumpkin patch has got another person coming in, another business coming in.
Yep.
It's full. We're trying right now to purchase other property to expand, and we have people we've been talking to. We're looking for a new IDA director that we're going to have some monies to go to different shows, just like Steve Meals people do. So it is happening. The IDA has been out there constantly helping. Selling your county is one thing. Retaining what's here is a totally different thing. The IDA has helped retain many, many companies, many jobs. For example, Fiberdyne, Feldmeyer, Fall River, which is the Burroughs Paper Company, Remington Arms. They've all helped these people to remain here. To sell Herkimer County by hiring someone, I don't think that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
I would like to see Mr. Butler maybe come up with some funding. The state comes up with funding for every other darn thing. So if and I appreciate Mr. Butler saying that, but if that's what he thinks, maybe he can get together with Assemblyman Brindisi there and get us some money to hire somebody. I know that the state doesn't do that, but they spend a lot of money on a lot of other things that don't come to fruition.
All right.
Herkimer County is good. It doesn't need to sell itself. It needs to make itself a little bit better. That's all.
John, I want to also ask you just quickly, Remington Arms, the company that owns Remington Arms is in a real pickle right now, and there's a lot of stories out there, national stories, about the fact that there are loans and bonds coming due in a very, very big number, and that they do not have the cash flow. This could mean bankruptcy coming to Remington. Have you heard anything on Remington, and are you worried about what's going on in Ilion right now?
Always interested of what's going on in Remington and Ilion. Worried. I don't have that much insight into their financials. But you know what? You're bringing up a great point. Shouldn't New York State, with all that flying around, get interested? Talk to them about that before maybe the door's shut. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But, before the horses get out of the barn, Why don't we go in as a state and protect the largest and the oldest gun maker in America? Assemblyman Brindisi, I'll ask you that. I'll ask Mr. Butler that, Mr. Miller that. If you guys think that Remington Arms might be in trouble, set up a meeting with them. Go talk to them. We throw money at companies that don't exist. How about retaining a company?
Right.
Can I have that answer?
John, I'm going to let you go and let Anthony finish up. Listen,
that's a good question.
It's a very good question. Well, I wanted your take on it as the head of the chamber down there. Certainly,
the chamber is. Well, let me just say one quick thing. Remington Arms has been a partner of the chamber for a long time. They have just renewed their partnership with the chamber as far as a presenting sponsor. One of their trusted, good people is on my board and was at a meeting yesterday with me, and all smiles. If there's doom and gloom, I don't hear it. So if you guys really think that there's a problem, please, New York State, please talk to the governor, which won't come up and talk to Remington Arms.
Right.
If, like the emails say, if we lose somebody, it's not Remington Arms' fault. Maybe it's New York State's fault. How's that sound?
All right, John, we appreciate it. John Scarano, and I'm going to give Anthony Brindisi the last word. I will say, Michael says, what Anthony Brindisi is doing right now, apologizing, is something you would never, ever hear out of Congresswoman Tenney. You want to comment on that?
Well, look, I'm not afraid. I think you've said this before, Bill. I'm not someone who's afraid to face the music. And if I admit I did something wrong, I apologize for it. It's just human. We do that in human nature every day, and there's no reason any elected official should be any different. I'm also not someone who's afraid to face the music. I will go in front of crowds and listen to people, and if they scream and yell at me, that's my job as an elected official to be there and to listen to them and trying to respond the best I can. I got into this job 6 years ago in the Assembly, a few years before that in the school board, because I love this area. I want to do good for this area. I'm trying my hardest to be a good representative for this area. People are going to disagree with me. You put a lot of work and effort into this job, trying to help better the area that I grew up in, and sometimes you do get frustrated and things are said. But we're all big people. I think the bottom line from all of this, and what we should all do better, which we do not do good enough, is work together as a region. To me, there is no line that separates Oneida County from Herkimer County, from Madison County. This is all one region, and having the benefit of representing both Oneida and parts of Herkimer County, I see it. The officials maybe don't always talk together or work together as good as they should, but we need to. And just because a project goes into the pumpkin patch does not mean that those jobs are only going to benefit Herkimer County. They're going to benefit the entire region. Same thing with Griffiths. You have thousands of jobs there, and the people that work there live in 5 counties around Rome. So we have to do better working together.
Can you talk about what John said in terms of Remington? It's no secret, Anthony, that this company is in a very financial stress, almost a critical state right now. Is there anything that can be done?
I think that's probably something that's happening across the gun industry right now as sales start to go down. I don't know what can be done. One thing that the elected officials, I will say, have done good, on both sides of the aisle, is work together when Remington has been under threat, and I'm sure it will be no different this time as we work together with our colleagues in Herkimer County and the other surrounding counties to do what we can as a state to help Remington Arms. I think overtures have been made by the state to Remington in the past, and they did not need help or want help at that time. Maybe it's time to revisit that and see if there is something that the state can do, and I'm happy to help participate in that effort because I don't want to see any of those jobs lost.
Yeah. And finally, is there money? I'm the economic development director. Would there be money from Albany for something like that?
I don't think so. From what I understand, the state does not give out money for staffing. It's for capital projects or other things like that. There is economic development funds, but to hire staff, that's something really local officials need to do, and especially if you have the financial resources to do it. There's no reason why you shouldn't have someone who's working in a collaborative effort with other counties to try and bring things to this area. The thing that works so well in places like the Research Triangle in North Carolina is if a company goes to one city in that area and it doesn't work for whatever reason, that city pushes them off to the next one in the triangle. They're working together, and they're not saying, oh, well, if it doesn't work in Herkimer County, we don't want to push them to Oneida County and vice versa. We have to work together because it benefits the entire region and everyone living here. And
quickly, Hardin Furniture. I don't believe that's in your district, McConnellsville, but they're another company that's in a very stressful situation. Right.
And again, if there are things that we can do, we have a great working relationship with our Mohawk Valley 9 group of legislators. We're all trying to find areas where we can help and work together. If that's one thing that they can be helpful on, then we can try and attack that issue.
All right, Anthony Brindisi, we appreciate you taking the time this morning.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
Have a great day, and we'll break.